Welcome to Chasing Winners. Peter O'Neill, David Shortte and Jesse Earnshaw are about to join you to preview the meeting from Mandurah in the Peel tonight. They will also look in depth at the meeting from Cannington tomorrow night. The boys will also be joined by Ryan Levitsky, who will provide his best over the 2 nights of chasing. Let the chase begin.
Very good morning, everyone. Welcome along to Chasing Winners. Just the duo today, Peter O'Neill and also David Shortte. So looking forward to getting into this Friday and Saturday night program. Very good morning, Shorty.
Good morning to you, Peter O'Neill. Everyone tuned in to Chasing Winners on this Friday morning. Great to be with you and looking forward to a massive weekend across here in Perth. Got some really good chasing. Of course, it's Group 1 Melbourne Cup final across there at Sandown on Saturday night. Good luck to Buddy Manelli and also Big Energy. Couple of runners towards the top of the market there. Lots of very excited owners here in WA looking towards that. And, of course, Day 3, the Pinnacles tomorrow out there at Ascot as well. Pete, Damien Oliver on the Farewell Tour will be riding there. So really exciting weekend of racing upcoming.
Looking forward to it. Just on the Melbourne Cup, we might start with that first. 2 WA-bred greyhounds, as you said. So Buddy Manelli never raced in WA, but his mum in Liesl Manelli was a good performer. And, of course, Sharon Manelli, the granddam, was a wonderful producer. Yeah,
absolutely. And, of course, that Manelli line going back a long way. Buddy Manelli was very good last week in the heat. It had been racing over 600 metres, dropping back to the 500. And when it landed close last week, of course, given that strength, was always in a good spot. And tonight, Saturday night, again from the good draw, if anything goes wrong with Big Energy, Buddy Manelli is the greyhound that's going to get a great opportunity to punch up hard on the rail, be in a good spot and be right in the finish. So I think both of the dogs with the WA connection can perform really well, as the market would suggest, Pete.
And then Big Energy, a greyhound who was the quickest qualifier last week, won the shootout, of course, the week before. WA-owned, bred, raced here, started his racing career here. He's flying at the moment, isn't he? That time last week, 28.91.
Scintillating performance from Big Energy, a greyhound with a massive motor. Not a huge dog, so it just takes a couple of steps to get going. That'll be the key to this race. If Big Energy gets 3 or 4 steps to wind up and is untouched and can use that muster, he's got a very quick early split and a very slick overall time. Clearly the fastest qualifier with clear running. Big Energy is no doubt the dog to beat. Just hoping that he can get that little bit of room early. That'll be the key to the race. If he gets that, I think Big Energy will be too quick for them. But if he slightly dwells, the whole race opens up pretty quickly, Pete.
And we know the Manelli line, and obviously Mike and Michelle Quincy, David Hobby with the breeding lines behind Buddy Manelli. Michelle Roma, who had Tiama, who's the granddam of Big Energy. Yeah, she's a small-time breeder, but has had so much success in breeding, and a lot of people throughout Australia wouldn't, the rank and file punters wouldn't know Michelle Roma as a breeder, but she's done an outstanding job and had so many greyhounds that she's loved and raised, and they've gone on to be very good greyhounds.
Yeah, big time, and it all really harks back to Tiamo Shots, as she was known around the home front, and she has just continued to have this line that has kept throwing really fast dogs on the way through. She can be incredibly proud, Michelle, on the quality of greyhound that she continues to produce. We know that seeing Plenty of Vision on social media over the years, they are looked after like royalty. So much love and affection given to them from the moment that they arrive on this earth, and they have repaid Michelle and the connections that have purchased the pups on the way through in spades. She's produced an absolute truckload of very, very good quality chasers, and this is another one of them. This would be pretty special, though. I think, Pete, it'd be in my top 3 races that you dream of winning. A Melbourne Cup for me in the world of greyhound racing would be in the top 3.
What would be the number one?
For me, I'd love to win a Perth Cup, obviously, given where we're based and how it's all worked out. And the other one would be the Easter egg. I think the Melbourne Cup, the Easter egg, and the Perth Cup for me are the 3 races I'd love to win as an owner. I haven't really got close to winning any of those 3. I've managed to sneak into a Group 1 Galaxy final on a couple of occasions and managed a placing there, Pete, but still chasing that elusive Group 1.
And we'll keep trying, won't we, Shorty? Well
Absolutely.
Done. Let's go through your thoughts on tonight's program at Mandurah. We start off with a 488-metre novice. The favourite at the moment, and has been well supported, is Erasmus Duke from $3.20 into $2.60.
I think understandably so. We saw the very best of Erasmus Duke last week. Of course, this is the greyhound when we had the Chase the Dream promotion that the 10 first-time lucky owners were able to get a share into, and young Tommy, as he was known initially, but he just keeps getting better with racing. It looks like he's really enjoyed the move to Mandurah, and that performance last week, 27.66, did everything right, comes up with box number 1 again here, and I thought that he had a really good chance for back-to-back wins tonight, Erasmus Duke, so happy enough to have the Duke on top. From number 5, Jet Khan, a greyhound that runs plenty of seconds to this point of its career. It has now had the 12 starts for 1 win, 7 seconds and a third. I think it can probably grab another silver medal around the neck tonight there, Jet Khan. Number 7, West on Bambi, is a very capable chaser, coming off a nice performance last time out. And I'll include number 4 there in Cheetah Magic, who is another dog that's been racing quite well for Michael Rylands. But from the inside draw, happy to be with the Duke, 1574.
I'm very similar to you, Shorty. I'm going with number 1, Erasmus Duke on top. Really smart, winning. Good time last start. I think this big track suits him. Number 5 for second, Jet Khan, a greyhound who was a nice second behind Tarzan. For third, number 2, Go-Go Slash. And at number 7, West on Bambi, 1527. Race number 1. Race 2, 300 metre sprint. Very open market here. Our Aim is currently the favourite at $3. I thought number 5, Crisscross Lass, would be hard to beat. A greyhound who's been racing over the 400 metres, showing early speed and just getting caught on the line, was only beaten ahead behind Mia, keeping 3 starts back. Red Shell wasn't far in front of her last start, so she's finished second to the last 3. She's been placed to the last 4. Over the trip, I think she leads and wins. Number 2, Go Get 'em Buzz, I'll put in for second. Nice winner going back 2 runs ago. For third, number 3, Our Aim, and at number 4, Argyle Rose, Shorty, 5-2-3-4.
Yeah, fairly open race. I thought you could make a case for most of these. I'm going to go with number 3, Our Aim on top. The win 3 back there at Cannington in 16.15 was good. A greyhound that's got good burn should be able to use that to advantage here. From number 5, Crisscross Lass, certainly got its paw on the till, placed at its last 4 and racing really well. Thought number 8, Soul Survivor, could be thrown into the mix here if it can get across from that wide draw and get room to wind up. It's certainly capable of figuring in the finish. And number 2, Go Get 'em Buzz for Ben Abercrombie, 3, 5, 8 and 2 in the second.
Race number 3 over the 400 metres, West on Boomer from $2.50 into $2.15. Are you going that way?
Yeah, pretty trim. West on Boomer here. The maiden win in sub 30, though, was a pretty good indication that this greyhound's got quite a motor. I'm going for a bit of each-way value here with number 4, Little Lorelei. This greyhound won in 30.07 at Cannington only a couple of starts ago. Was the beneficiary of a look at the track from a middle draw last time out. Was beaten 3 1/4, but I'm sure it will definitely gain benefit from that look at the track. So looking for a bit of value here in the third. I'll go with number 4 each way, Little Lorelei. From number 1, Mignon, probably served better with a bit more room to move, and yet to see the very best of this dog, but I know that it's got a motor, and one of these nights it's going to step and show us what it's capable of. Number 6, West on Boomer, is capable of running really well on its night, as we preface with that sub 30-second win. And number 8, Sunset Bubbles, is another greyhound that's been going quite nicely for trainer Dave Hobby. I didn't think it was an easy race. Looking for a little bit of value with a 4 each way from 1, 6 and 8.
I can understand that. I'm actually going with West on Boomer, the favourite. I think he's too short, but I was impressed with that maiden win going back 5 runs ago. And I remember Ryan back then, Ryan Levitsky, he said that he had a fairly big opinion of West on Boomer, so I'm going to put him on top. From number 8, Sunset Bubbles, a greyhound who I think will be well suited out wide. A greyhound has been placed at her last 3. Number 1, Mignon, is better than her recent form suggests. And number 4, Little Lorelei, 6, 8, 1 and 4. Now the scratchings through. Race 2, number 8, Soul Survivor's ineligible. Race 2, number 8 comes out. Race 4, the reserve. Race 5, scratch 8, Clifton Matilda, number 8. And then race 9, scratch 5, Teflon Sunny, earlier scratching. They're the only scratchings, thanks to Carlos Sorella for sending that information through from the grading department. All right, Shorty, let's go to race number 4 on the program. Uncle Tommy, $1.38's drifted out to $1.40.
You're short enough, I would have thought, but very hard to beat Uncle Tommy. Must admit, thought he, was serviceable in both wins both from this draw. Thought maybe could have gone a touch quicker, given, that 21.52 we've seen at Cannington. But now with a couple of runs under the belt, again coming up with box number 1, Uncle Tommy looks awfully hard to beat. Should be taking care of business against this sort of opposition. He's a dog that's headed for top grade racing here over the sprint trips. I'm then going to include number 4, Notorious Harada, who I thought was a good effort when runner-up last time out. Number 2, Nangar Pearls. Great to see Troy Owenick back training a greyhound, and this greyhound's been very consistent. It can hit the frame once again there this evening, and I'll round it out with number 6, Red Shell, who was good back into the winners list last time out, albeit in an easier race. One very hard to beat here, Uncle Tommy, but the price reflects that from 4, 2 and 6.
You're a very good judge, Shorty. I've gone exactly the same way, 1, 4, 2 and 6, and I think $1.40 is over the odds. I think he just jumps, runs and wins. I thought that run last week, 22.40, was sensational. Got a bit of a bump early and was able to level up. I know he had box number 1, but he is a really smart pup, and I think he'll go a lot quicker than what he did last week with clear running. Let's go to race number 5. Good market here with Warm Regards at $2.60, Penny Magic at $2.50. Do you think the market's right? Do you think there's much between these two?
I didn't have a stack between them, but gee, I was taken by the run of Warm Regards last week. The way that it just chimed into the race, and next thing you know, there was a massive margin back to the third dog. Was probably around that 10 length margin by the time it was done and dusted. It just romped into the race. Granted, that wasn't a super strong lineup, and Penny Magic's been going around against better quality greyhounds week in, week out. I thought it was a brave win last week. Dogs were coming at it right, left and centre, and it popped its beak out at the right time. I do respect Penny Magic greatly, but the one advantage Warm Regards has is it's now had a look around at Mandurah, and I loved what I saw from the dog. I just thought that it looked to love the new circuit. Just really did warm up sort of down the back, and then once it got a look at the arm, it just ran away with it. I thought it was a stunning performance. So happy enough to be with Warm Regards and made it one of the best bets on the card. I am petrified of number 4, Penny Magic, who has got early pace and could be the dog in front, and whether or not Warm Regards would run it down and run away like it did last week, we'll find out tonight. But I'm banking on just that track experience being the difference between the two tonight. So 3 Warm Regards from number 4. They look a standout Quinella in this particular race. Number 2, Dandle Up Dollar, I thought was a solid performance last time out. And I'll round it out with Greyhound number 1 in Cindy's Pride. 3, 4, 2 and 1. Good Quinella. Happy enough to be with Warm Regards. I think the price $2.60 off what we saw last week is okay.
I agree with you. The fact that she's seen the track and distance is a big advantage for her, and she was impressive last week. She holds the track record currently 37.35. Just going back on her previous runs, the times weren't overly quick at Northam and Cannington?
No, they weren't. And the fact that it was an even money pop in what was must be said, pretty moderate lineup last time out lets us know that nobody knew for sure what was going to happen there last week. But I guess we can only go on what our eyes saw last time out, and that was just a stunning performance. She has been an in-and-out character throughout the course of her career. She has won well over the 700 metres at Northam, so that's a really nice thing to have in your favour, knowing that she's certainly strong enough to run out a really strong 652 metres. And yeah, like I said, I just love what I saw last start. Sometimes you just have to believe what you see, and I certainly am believing in what I saw there last week. A rinse and repeat job. If it can do something like that again, surely it'd be pretty hard to beat. I'm
going the other way, Penny Magic. I've been really impressed with what she's done up in town. She defeated Jamie Keeping 5 starts ago. The time was good, and then she's won her last 2 over Superman Keeping and that Hurricane Taylor. So I'm going to actually put her on top. I think she can lead and she'll be very hard. I think she'll run some really quick sectionals. So 4 on top. 3 Warm Regards, I agree. It's an ideal Quinella. 6 Craving Kuna has also been in reasonable form. And at 2 Dandle Up Dollar, 4, 3, 6, 2. Race number 5 to race number 6. Second leg of the quaddie. Open market here. No limit needed. Currently the favourite at $3.50. I've gone Waffles Manelli, who's currently at $4.60. Shorty, not sure about your thoughts on him. He was a really good winner from an inside draw last start, and then from box number 8 was a really good run behind Bundigi at big odds. I like his form. Nicely bred, in-form kennel, so 5 on top. I thought Launch Control could certainly improve, dropping back from grade 4 company recently. I'll put in for second. Number 1, Really Serious, and number 2, No Limit Needed. So I haven't got her in my top 4, but you might put her on top, and I might I'll listen to what you've got to say and see whether I change my selections. 5, 6, 1, 2.
5, 6, 1 and 2 for Pete. I am going to go with number 2, No Limit Needed. I think it should get a nice run here. The greyhound drawn in box 4, Start Up Ando, we know likes to get up the track a little bit, and that's my major concern for Waffles Manelli. Just if Start Up Ando happens to jump on terms, you can sort of steer up the track a little bit, and that may take a little momentum away from Waffles and set the race up for the dogs drawn on the inside. No Limit Needed in that scenario should be really hard to beat. It's had a few runs back from a break now. This is a chaser that we've seen go around against some of our best city grade sprinters. So this provincial grade Friday night race is really very much in the wheelhouse of No Limit Needed, but it does need to get the start right. It's going to get the room required. I would suggest with Start Up Ando getting up the track a little, and that's what I'm banking on here. So 2 on top from one really serious who also get that right run and was a really nice winner here going back 3 starts ago. The dog can really run on its night. I'm then including number 6, Launch Control, who'll be really strong late. Got too far out of its ground last week, but you'd think if it can sit somewhere near them, you know that one of these nights this dog's going to be steaming home all over the top of them late in the piece. And number 4 in Start Up Ando, while the draw's not perfect, he has got a huge engine, and if he gets into the clear and gets room to wind up late, he'll really be smashing the line late. I do respect number 5, Waffles Manelli, just a little bit worried as to whether or not Start Up Ando might tag it in the early stages, but an interesting race. 2, 1, 6 and 4.
Lewis Clay has a smart one and a nicely bred one in his care all over Carja, the track record holder last week, setting a new personal best. Do you think they'll go under the 22 seconds at any stage?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, I absolutely do. We've only had a few weeks of chasing and they're already within 2 lengths of it, so I think it's only a matter of time before that happens. And I think most of these benchmarks are going to be sub 22 seconds there over that sort of distance range. I think over the 488 metres we'll no doubt see greyhounds breaking the 27-second barrier as well. It's just a matter of time, given they've got within a couple of lengths of both of those sort of time barriers early on in the new track there at Mandurah. Great race. This is chock full of quality, and there's a number of these greyhounds that can really get along early on in their particular races and set the fractions up. I'm torn here. I'm going to go with the form that's on the board with number 5, All Over Carja, Pete, but I must admit I have a real soft spot for the greyhound drawn in box number 8, Little Bit Twisted, who really should relish this draw out in box number 8. Normally takes a couple of steps to the right out of the boxes, so it's going to be nothing in its way. It's going to get the opportunity to really zoom into the race out wide on the track. But if All Over Carja gets out like it did last week, then Little Bit Twisted's going to have to find a little bit to get across it. So tough race. 5 on top, All Over Carja from 8, Little Bit Twisted. 4, All Over Carly is going really well at the moment for Jeff Reed. And number 3, Barrio Beast. Love the dog, just needs to tidy up its box manners a touch at this grade, with greyhounds like All Over Carly, All Over Carja, a little bit twisted, all capable of running very quick early splits. And when dogs are doing that and then running 22-14, 22-20, it's very hard to make up the required ground to run them down. Also, definitely punters, don't leave out number 7, Ultimate Command, if you're having trifectas and first fours. It's very, very rare that this greyhound misses the frame. It's one at $21 that you want to include into trifectas, first fours. But I'll go 5, 8, 4 and 3.
So All Over Carja, it's $2.60, a little bit twisted, it's $4. I'm going a little bit twisted. Some of us might forget that he won his first 9 in a row all over the 380 metres in town. He's won 2 or 3 from box number 8. You mentioned that he likes a wide draw, Shorty, and I think he'll get across from here and be able to run some really slick times. So 8 on top, 5 All Over Carja obviously has to be respected. Number 3, Barrio Beast, and 6, Westdale Fury. 8, 5, 3, 6 in race number 7. Free for all. They're not easy, and we've got some really high-class sprinters at the moment. Race 8 over the 488 metres, final leg of the quaddie, and the open market here has Jetworth at $4, Halcyon Days $4.20. I'm going with Jetworth. A greyhound has been racing very well in the care of Ricky Valenti's, won 3 of his last 4. First up over the trip went 27.75. I was impressed with his win over the 2.75 going back 3 runs ago. Number 5, Mohican Mistress. A greyhound has been placed twice from 3 starts. 7, Aquila. 8, Power of Molly. 3, 5, 7 and 8. I've left out the second favourite in Halcyon Days. What are your thoughts?
I'm looking for a bit of value. It's a race where there's good early pace in the race. Indigo Ruby, Jetworth, Mohican Mistress can really get out. Halcyon Days can show some pace. Aquila and Power Molly. The one dog that's the get back run on, and I think will really appreciate this Mandurah circuit, is Spin the Bottle. Now, it must be said, this dog comes with a little bit of let the buyer beware, because it's been on the sidelines for some time. Last time we saw it was 25th of September there at Northam. But this greyhound is really strong, and this could be the sort of race where there's a few dogs sort of really tearing at each other, and it might set up for a dog just camped off speed to steam home over the top late. Whether or not the 488 will be a bit short, maybe, but maybe not too. And in a race where most leaders that I was looking to be involved with in the race could be vulnerable late, it is the dog that potentially swoops late. It's not a race I'm super keen to get involved with, Pete, but I'll shop for the value with Spin the Bottle.
I thought he would have been $20 in this field. When I looked at him, I thought, yeah, he's an outsider. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. He'll be strong late, and I thought, he hasn't started for a little while. $20 chance, and then when I see $4.60.
It may well drift as the day goes on. I was sort of hoping for sort of 6+, to be honest, on an each-way basis with the dog. But, look, I thought it was very challenging, because a dog like Mohican Mistress being in the race who gets a little wary late, dogs like Indigo Ruby potentially be up there. Jetworth could be up there with it as well. It's one of those races. Power Molly's not normally far from the action as well. I just sort of thought it could be busy up front, and I was looking for the swooper, and the one that did stand out was Spin the Bottle. But, yeah, I'm certainly not getting too heavily involved in this particular race. From number 3, Jetworth, love the way that this dog's acclimatised to the Mandurah circuit, and this White Minion litter going along really, really nicely. Of course, this is a different litter. Fernando Bale Hardaway Winnie. But I know the White Minion litter that Rick Valenti's got in his care have really taken to the Mandurah circuit. So he's one that's very happy to have the local home track back up and firing, and Jetworth can run well for him again there tonight. Number 5 in Mohican Mistress, regular in the frame, and again could be taking home silver or bronze tonight, and if happens to get away from them, could nick the race. And number 8, Power of Molly, 1 Indigo Rubies there with winning claims as well. Halcyon Days you can make a case for. I thought it was a really tough race. 2, 3, 5 and 8 for me. Race number 8.
Race number 9. Number 5 is a scratching here. The favourite is Idle a While. Number 6, Shorty.
One of the better bets on the card, I think, the way things have turned out here. The scratching of number 5, Teflon Sunny. I like the way this greyhound's going for Max Julian at the moment, Idle a While. It's now won 3 of its last 4, and those times have been what's really stood up. So 21.90, 4 back, 21.71 was absolutely electric there going back a few starts ago. No luck behind Robotnik, and then dropped a 22.37 last time out from a similar draw. I think Idle a While just needs to get out and step like it has at its last few, and it'll be really hard to run down. From number 8, Conniption is another dog that's going well for James Jeffries, having a good run with his team at the moment. The dog should run well. Number 1, Buddy's Mate off the inside draw, and number 3 in Cool Myra. 6, 8, 1 and 3. Hard to beat though here, Idle a While. I would expect it to jump, and from there, if it can run to that 22.37, we'll take all of the stopping.
Yeah, I agree. 6, 8, 4 and 1 for me. Idle a While on top. Conniption, greyhound, has been racing well for James Jeffries. Number 4 in West on Fern, Buddy's Mate. 6, 8, 4 and 1. Race 10, number 2, Mazuma Mayhem, currently at $2.60. Quest for Power at $2.70. I think there's the market has it right here. The former Victorian chaser was good on debut, Quest for Power, but I like the fact that Mazuma Mayhem's drawn well, has won over the trip. Time was good. Inside draw, I think, suits him. So I'm going number 2 on top. From number 6, Quest for Power. Don't have a lot between the two of them, Shorty. Sunset Caribbean will be an interesting runner over the 400 metres for the first time. Did lead going back, I think it was 6 starts ago at Cannington in a novice, and 7 Sel Ali, a greyhound who was very impressive on debut and a maiden, was heavily supported that occasion. Since then has been disappointing. 2, 6, 4, 7.
Very similar for me, 2, 6, 4 and 8. Number 2 on top, Mazuma Mayhem. The maiden win was really impressive going back a couple of starts ago. Last time out, didn't quite get the start right and never really came into play. It was a moderate performance. But if it can recapture what it did 2 starts ago, then Mazuma Mayhem would be very hard to beat. And I have enormous respect for Sean Kavanagh. He's a great young trainer. He only ever has a small team, but it's pretty rare that the dogs that he has don't perform really well, so I would expect it to go well. Quest for Power, as you alluded to, thought the effort there behind Pat Up Declan was good. The time was solid. It's a greyhound that it showed above average ability over there on the East Coast and can run well tonight. 4 Sunset Caribbean will be charging home, you'd expect, over this trip of 400 metres, and 8 Pyroclasm 2648.
Let's go to race number 11, and the favourite here is Renegade Cashish at $1.65.
Yeah, a little bit shorter than I thought it would come up. I made it one of my better bets on Wednesday when we were doing Greyhound Gold. I thought we'd be getting black figures, but that's not the case. Probably short enough, given there's an element of speculation having its first start across here in WA tonight. I did note, though, that it was a nice winner at Goulburn from this draw only 3 starts ago, and this greyhound's record does speak for itself. 14 starts, 7 wins, 5 seconds. There's no questioning this chaser's ability levels. There have been a couple of runs where it hasn't quite finished its races off, which is a small concern when you're taking the $1.65, but I would say that this dog really, in this grade of race, should be able to ping and from there be awfully hard to beat. I made it one of my better bets, but I must admit the $1.65 is not overly enticing. From Greyhound at number 5, Bang, who's a chaser that's really taken to this Mandurah circuit. The efforts 2 and 3 back, very good. Number 4 in Redhead Rider, who came from box number 1 last week. Only a matter of time before this dog returns to form, I'd suggest. And number 1, Avgas Gundy, 8, 5, 4 and 1 for me in race number 11.
I don't like Renegade Cashish, and I think that the price is ridiculous for first up for a greyhound. Been beaten his last 2. The time wasn't that good at Goulburn, was it?
No, it was some 4.5 lengths outside best of night on that occasion.
So, yeah, I'm quite happy to risk him, and I'm going to go for one that you haven't got in your top 4, which I'm concerned about, Shorty, and that is Extreme Rock. Good trainer, good win last start. I thought the time was really, really good. From an inside draw, Extreme Rock can win. From number 4, Redhead Rider, the kennel mate of 8, Renegade Cashish, and number 5, Bang, 2485, hoping for a little bit of value there. And in the last event on the program, race number 12, the favourite is number 4, Robotnik, at $1.85. I'll go that way for him to make it 3 in a row. Number 2, Leg Press, I'll put in for second, was a nice winner in good time from this draw. Last start, number 1, Jamie Keeping can improve, and 8, Shadow Manelli. 4-2-1-8.
4-2-1-8 for Pete. Very similar for me. Number 4 on top, Robotnik. I've really been impressed with Robotnik's last 2 efforts over the 400 metres. Steps out to the 488 here. Should pose no problems whatsoever. From number 2, Leg Press. I'll then go with number 8, Shadow Manelli, and 1, Jamie Keeping. 4-2, 8 and 1 in the last. One of the better bets of the night, Robotnik. Pete, what I will do here, I'm going to go the switcheroony. I've got 3 best bets. Starting off race 5, number 3, Warm Regards. 3 and 4, Quinella in that race looked a really solid play. I was going to go race 11, number 8, Renegade Cashish, but at the $1.55, I don't think that that's great value. So I'm going to switch that with a greyhound that's in black odds, and I think is just as good a winning chance, and that's race 9, number 6, Idle a While. Love the way that it's been going of late for Max Julian, so we'll switch that around just with the price differential. And race 12, number 4, Robotnik. So race 5, number 3 with the 3 and 4, race 9, number 6, and race 12, number 4 will be my plays tonight there. Can take those with doubles and trebles. From a quaddie perspective tonight, first leg just taking 3 and 4, Warm Regards and Penny Magic. As I alluded to, I think they do look a really nice combination to be fighting it out there. Then on to the second leg, and going to be taking here numbers 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 in that second leg. The third leg this evening, another fairly tricky assignment. I'll go 3, 4, 5 and 8. So 3, 4, 5 and 8 in that third leg, and rounding it out in the final leg there tonight with numbers 2, 3, 5 and 8. 2, 3, 5 and 8 to bring us home, Pete. That quaddie tonight there will cost you $160 for a full unit. $32 will get you 20%.
Good work, Shorty. Just hold on there for a moment. Well, let's go to Ryan Levitsky to get his best for the program tonight at Mandurah. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, Pete. A little bit surprised that Shorty left Sozins Azuri out of his quaddie, but we'll get to that.
Okay, well, have you done a quaddie?
No, I haven't, but Sozins Azuri is my best bet of the night. Race 6, number 3. Number 2, No Limit Needed, wants the fence. Start Up Ando gets wide. Sozins Azuri is one of the best musterers around, and this distance is perfect. So I think race 6, number 3 is a great bet. I also like race 3, number 1, Mignon, just been racing without luck. And the other one picks itself, race 5, number 3, Warm Regards.
We spoke earlier on, Ryan, just back with Shorty here. We spoke about the fact that Startup Endo will give No Limit Needed and Really Serious plenty of galloping room. So what are your thoughts there, Shorty? Should we be including him?
Yeah, I'm happy. Look, that was a leg that I thought was pretty wide. It's just a matter of how wide you go. We can throw. It was next number in, so I don't like going against the great man, Ryan Levitsky, so let's throw it in. I don't think it'll cost us too much more. What's that, 2, 6, 12, 48? 96, 192. So 192 now. We spend our 32 and get 17% instead of 20%, but 17% getting it's better than 20% of nothing. So
exactly.
We're happy to work on the fly. Enormous respect for this man. So for him to actually point it out, Pete, I think we'd be it'd be complete folly to leave it out from there.
Okay, Ryan. So we've changed. Go on.
How good's Shorty's maths? I think we should start calling him Pythagoras.
Well, he started very, very young, grade 3, when he's putting on quaddies and first fours and things like that, and teaching the kids in his maths class how to actually do maths. So
back in those days, Ryan and Pete, you'd remember, of course, there was no flexi betting. So if you were going to have a first four, you needed to be able to get the divvy down to a fairly small amount so that you wouldn't have to spend a fortune.
In
especially,
grade 3?
Yes, but only a small amount of pocket money. So you had to go for the 50-cent unit, Ryan. And, it was a good way to learn early on in life about how many times multiplying numbers through the legs. It can jack up pretty quickly if you have too many in one leg.
I think Ryan and Lopesy got kicked out of, was it the Linwood TAB, Ryan, when you were at school?
Oh, Lopesy's mum went to the closest 8 TABs that he lived and gave all of the people behind the counter a photo of him.
Oh, dear.
And you think I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. That's dinkum.
Complete kudos to Lopesy as well for going and getting that Mad magazine bag at the Royal Show where you could put the glasses with the little moustache on, and that kept him very active in those regions for many, many years thereafter.
Well, he did get head boy of Ursula Frayne, Shorty, in one of the biggest boilovers of all time. Tony Lopes, head boy of Ursula Frayne, and I do think that position came under pressure because there was a TAB directly across Shepparton Road. So, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, some stories anyway.
We should do a podcast on him.
Yeah, that's for another day. Another day.
I'll tell you something, though. One absolute nugget last time I heard him on the radio, and it's timely. With this time of year, if you go into the local fruit and veg store, look for the speckles on the nectarines. The speckles, he said, it puts a lot of people off, but it makes them sweeter. So there's your little nugget from Tilo. Look for the speckles when you're doing the fruit shopping over the next couple of months, Rhino.
And bagged bananas, they're cheap for a reason. That's another one he told me.
All right, best bet on Cannington, Ryan.
Sorry, Pete. I like race 6, number 6, Nangar Bubbles for the Magic Man, Sean Kavanagh. Race 8, number 8, Joe the Lion, each way. Just think they might bunch up in that over 380. Might get around them at odds. And race 11, number 6, Ferrero Flyer is ready to win. A quaddie, first leg 1, 2, 3, 5. Second leg standout 6, Nangar Bubbles. Third leg 1, 2 and 8. Fourth leg 2, 3, 4 and 8.
And you have a best bet on Monday, Tuesday, and you had half of the field or 3/4 of the field in the qualifying trials there on Wednesday. You probably got a special for us next Wednesday as well in the maidens.
No, I don't. Unfortunately, as I told you, Pete, that litter isn't very good. And, Eric's going to put them around for one start, basically.
Okay.
And, no tip there. But I do like one on Tuesday. There's a dog Cody Charles has got. He's got a few that are very, very quick, still learning how to jump. Race 5, number 5, Tick, 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 has a big engine, has been missing the kick, but with any room at that first turn, it's going to be very hard to hold out.
All right. No other specials for us?
No, I've got a few other fruit tips from Lopesy if you want them, or maybe I'll
save that for another
give them
day.
to you next week.
All right.
Okay.
Enjoy the calling tonight. Ryan Levitsky with his thoughts
Cheers,
on
Ryan.
the program tonight at Mandurah. We could talk to Ryan for years.
Oh,
Him and Lopesy. It'd be
classic.
a great show.
It's so many years ago. It was a different time and a different generation. But I know when I first started going out to Cannington, Pete, on a Thursday night, it used to be, and there'd be racing all over. They used to have bookmakers in the ring there. Raffraghetti was always a regular there. There were some great characters at the Greyhounds.
Have you had Lopesy on your podcast with Harry?
We haven't. We should get him on one day to have a chat about the good old times.
Who'd be more left field, Harry or Lopesy?
They'd make for some pretty interesting chat. And I think the other one, Ryan would be great too, because Harry loves his dogs from generations gone by, and Ryan's got a great memory of dogs in the 90s and early 2000s. That some of them are sort of vague with me. I can still remember some of the real top liners, but he can remember some really obscure dogs that were winning, dash finals and things like that in the mid-90s and late 90s. He's got a great memory when it comes to dogs from years gone by. It's a good point you raised. We might get him on the Coast to Coast podcast in the coming weeks.
We've got the Anniversary Cup on Saturday night talking about dogs from yesteryear. We've got the likes of Miss Crisp and Sandpepper who won this race back in 88 and 89. And New Season was the first ever winner in 1974, which means next year, Shorty, 50 years celebrating greyhound racing in Western Australia. It's only a week away from the 49th anniversary with the first ever meeting held at Cannington.
Isn't that great, Pete? It's a pretty special piece of history, and I know Dave Simonetti's been working really hard to make a really special time of it when we celebrate that 50-year mark. It's a pretty significant historic moment in the sport to be going for 50 years. So looking forward to celebrating that with the industry next year.
All right, let's go through your thoughts on the program on Saturday night. An open market, the first, Little Bit Warped, 360. Storm Alert, 420. All About Stone, 360. Imperial Sash, 460. Which way are you going?
Challenging start to the program, Pete. It must be said, there's a number of winning hopes here. And interesting thing with a few of these Dave Hobby greyhounds that he's bred in recent times is they've got massive run-home splits, but they're not always the most reliable early on in their races, and it makes it challenging to work out what sort of run are they going to get through the first corner, and he's got a few of them engaged in this particular race. One that, though, is generally more reliable than the others is the greyhound drawn in the one here, Little Bit Warped, and that's why I've gone with it. It's a dog that can show that good early pace, should be able to punch up from the inside draw into a nice spot, and from there is capable of breaking 30 seconds. So I'll go with number one on top in Little Bit Warped. Number 4, Storm Alert, thought was an excellent win last week. Greyhound will be strong at the back end of proceedings and finishing the race off really well. 7 in All About Stone, who just from the draw is going to need luck, but it is one of those dogs that's got that paralysing finishing burst. If you let the dog get busy, it can certainly really steam into its events. And number 3 in Sunset Nightjar, 1, 4, 7 and 3 for me in the first.
I'm going 7, 1, 4 and 8, All About Stone. I was really impressed with the couple of wins, or the 3 wins that he put together. And then from wide draws, didn't have a lot of luck behind Ghost Emoji, and it was a really big run, I thought, last week behind Storm Alert. So if he gets clear galloping room, I think he's a big chance. Number 1, a Little Bit Warped, nicely drawn, greyhound with a lot of ability as well. Number 4, Storm Alert, I was really impressed with his win last week. And number 8, Imperial Sash, 7, 1, 4 and 8 in race number 1. Always tough races to win the novices. Race 2, free for all over the 600 metres, and the market here has Couch Surfer at $2.45. I thought when I saw the $2.40 on Wednesday night, I thought that he would firm. I can't believe that he's this sort of price. He was dominant last week again. Box number 8, you might question, is a concern here. He's won 7 of 11, and he's been the outstanding 600, 700 metre greyhound in Western Australia in the last 6 months.
He has. The box 8 statistics are really concerning, though. 9 starts from box number 8 for 1 win and 3 placings. So for a dog that bats at a strike rate of 50% from this draw, is operating at about 12%. I don't generally take a risk against Couch Surfer, but those numbers are enough for me to steer away this Saturday night. And I'm going to go for an informed greyhound that's right back to its best, and that is chaser number 5, Crypto Manelli. Dog you were keen on last week, Pete, and it was a tremendous performance. Defeated Mixed Dozen and never looked like losing the race, to be honest. Was in command a long way from home. That was from box number 6. It goes around from box number 5 here. Just think that Morgan Turner's got Crypto Manelli right back in the zone at the moment, and just just under just under $4. Looks a decent value play. And happy enough to be with number 5, Crypto Manelli. From number 8, you have to respect Couch Surfer. I just don't love the price given that winning strike rate from the draw. 4, Clifton Cruise, another mighty 600 and 700 metre dog that turns up week in, week out, runs incredibly well. And 2, Chloe Ant. 5, 8, 4 and 2 for me in race number 2.
I think he's the class runner of the field. I think it's great value at the moment, $2.45. Couch Surfer, I'm going to put him on top to win his third race in succession. Obviously, Crypto Manelli is a very, very talented chaser, and I think he can go quicker than what he did last week. 2, Chloe Ant, and 3, Hurricane Taylor. 8, 5, 2, 3 in race number 2 on the program. Race number 3, this is over the 715 metres, and West on Nuggets, the $2.45 favourite, Sunset Louis at $3.30. I'm going that way, West on Nugget. Really good win. And I thought the time was good over Sunset Louis a couple of runs ago, and I think that he can defeat that runner again on Saturday night. Shorty, good second, West on Nugget behind Couch Surfer last week after being slowly away. So 2 on top. Number 3, Sunset Louis. A greyhound has been placed twice from 3 starts over the distance, and I think he'll snatch one of these races soon. 7, Corborn Roses. His form doesn't really jump off the page at me recently, but I'll go back, I think it was maybe 8-9 runs ago when he was in good form, and 8, Ballistic Ant. 2, 3, 7, 8.
It's a Shazam for me, 2, 3, 7, 8. I've made 2 West on Nugget, one of the best bets on the program, with conviction. The effort 2 back, first run over this distance was outstanding. The 42.17 is a time that not many dogs have been running of late over the 7.15, and while it was run down late by Couch Surfer last week, this dog did a power of work in the early and middle stages of this race after missing the start to get into the contest. It spent a lot of petrol tickets and was left vulnerable that last little bit, and it took Couch Surfer most of the home straight to get there. It was probably only the last 20 metres that West on Nugget gutted out. I think this dog's a really promising stayer, and I thought this was a perfect race for the dog on Saturday night. Make it one of the best bets. 3, Sunset Louis, much better suited down near the rails, so moves from box 8 to box 3 and is a legitimate threat. That 34.69 over the 600 metres is a time that tells you that this dog can absolutely measure up. It's gone 42.30 when placed behind West on Nugget only a couple of starts ago. It tells you that there's not a stack between the two, and Sunset Louis is the legitimate danger in the race. 7, Corborn Roses will drop out and charge home, and 8, Ballistic Ant, this whole litter. Very rare that they don't go home earning. 2, 3, 7 and 8. West on Nugget, though, one of the best of the night for me, Pete.
Let's go to race number 4. It's the first heat of the listed Anniversary Cup, taken out last year by Amplified Mambo Manelli's Sunset Spitfire in the years prior to that. I was knocked out very early in my multi, and of course every other leg got up last weekend, Shorty, including a couple at Ascot, but King Tommy certainly beaten last week, and Hinto won another feature.
Indeed, yeah, and well-deserved too, Hinto. Been racing so consistently with a truckload of placings for some 7 or 8 months without having much luck, and big group race for it there last week, and stepped up to the plate. Was a tremendous performance. I think you'd have to have been absolutely out of this world to not see the run of King Tommy last week. It was phenomenal. Coming from last in a field of that calibre with checks in the run to go down only a length, it was just phenomenal. This dog's chasing through brick walls at the moment. He's such a special canine. He's one of my favourite dogs for a really long period of time on the local scene. I can't remember many that have chased with the same amount of vigour that King Tommy does when he goes to the track. He just, regardless of what happens in or around him, he cops all the interference. He makes good decisions generally within the run, and then he just powers home. He's got that phenomenal finishing burst, and he'll be really hard to beat with any luck. King Tommy here. From number 4, Hinto, as we touched on, that group win was electric there in the Mandurah Cup last week. Number 1, Custard Manelli, back to the winners list last week, was well backed and was a really nice win. That'll be good for the dog's confidence. And number 6 in West on Booney, very good race, 8, 4, 1 and 6.
Same 4 numbers, slightly different order. 8, King Tommy on top. I hope he can bounce back. I agree with you. When you look at it second and third time, that run was just enormous last week. It doesn't help when you're knocked out in the first leg of your multi. Doesn't make it any easier for you. But 4, Hinto, he's a very talented chaser. He's won his last 3 at Mandurah. comes back to Kennington. Number 6, West on Booney's a very talented chaser. 1, Custard Manelli. This is an outstanding heat. 8, 4, 6, 1. Race number 4. Race number 5, and we see the return of Sage Tenniel, who was very unlucky last week, running a gallant third in a heat of the Melbourne Cup behind Make No Promise. Comes up at $1.85. Inside scoop at $4.20. Is she the right price?
I think she is. Yeah, I've made her one of the best bets, and she's in a few multis already for me this weekend. Thought that run last week was a return to her very best, Sage Tenniel. That was a good quality lineup that she ran into, and just an ounce of luck, and she jogs in. She doesn't sort of sneak in. She probably would have bolted in. She looked to be really travelling when copping the interference last week, and I think here back home, back to box number 1, Sage Tenniel will cash in. I love the way that she went about it, and the travel shouldn't knock around too much. It hasn't been a crazy hot week here in Perth, and she's becoming quite seasoned now, having had the 34 start. So box 1, and off that ripper run last week, more than happy to be with 1, Sage Tenniel, and make it one of the best bets on the program. From number 2, Inside Scoop, this chaser has emerged as one of our most exciting sort of progressive sprinters at the moment. It's going great guns for Christine Robertson, and it looms as a threat again. Number 5 in Crumble Manelli, who's the likely leader in this race. May just be, if they jam, it can be off and gone with a prize. If they don't, they'll likely run down Crumble Manelli. And I'll include number 3 in Columbus Manelli, who's one of the outsiders of this field. But one thing you know about Columbus Manelli is it'll be trucking late, and if Sage Tenniel and 1 or 2 of these others clear out, it'll be the dog really pelting home late into 3rd or 4th at a big price. So 1 on top, one of the best of the night, Sage Tenniel from 2, 5 and 3.
Very similar to you, Shorty. I'll go 1, 2, 5 and 6. Sage Tenniel. Inside draw is really going to help her here. Even if she misses the start and she gets crossed, being able to be on the paint and just make that ground quickly on the leaders, she'll be camped on them going off the back. I think she'll win. Inside Scoop is racing very well. You've covered the form there. Crumble Manelli and 6, Granite Song. 1, 2, 5, 6. Race number 6 over the 520 metres. Sandpatch at $2.50. Equal favourites with Nengar Bubbles, who's had support $2.65 into $2.50. I thought Sandpatch was one of the better bets on the program. She's won 4 of 6 from box number 1. She's been racing very consistently behind some smart types, including a second in the heat and second in the heat of the Mandurah Cup behind Hinto. For second, I'll put in Nengar Bubbles, greyhound who has drawn wider. Not quite sure whether this actually suits her. She's run some good times. Number 4, Bungee Man, and 7, Seriously Lush. 1, 6, 4 and 7, but I'd be surprised if Sandpatch gets beat.
I'll go the flipper of that. 6, 1, 4 and 7. 6 on top, Nengar Bubbles. Excellent record, track and trip. I think back to Cannington here after going around in the Mandurah Cup final and running a good 4th there last week. The start prior was solid as well off the inside. But really good numbers here at Cannington's. Got that good early burn. I think they look a great Quinella 6 and 1 here in this race. They've both got the early pace to be able to sit first and second early on in the race, and from there I think they can both run sub 30 and run 1, 2 on the podium. I don't think there'll be a stack between them. 4, Bungee Man continues to race really well for Enzo Credelli, and 7, Seriously Lush. 6, 1, 4, 7.
Okay, let's go to race number 7, and this is having Flying Frida at $2.35 and favourite. Brilliant winner last week. I had someone text me before, a punter who thinks he's pretty good, and told me that he was laying Flying Frida. I said, well, good luck. In that field last week, she was going to demolish them, in my opinion.
Yes, and she did. I must admit, I was hoping for potentially a bit quicker on the clock than that 35.18. I know sort of at her best she was running around that 34.6 range. So
just on that, just keep in mind over the last 3 weeks, the stewards have instructed the track staff with Wagra to make the track slower. So over all nights, they want the Cannington track to be more water go on it to make it safer for racing, because in the past the statistics have shown that greyhounds have been injured at this time of the year.
Okay,
so they've deliberately put more water on the track to make it hopefully safer. They're doing a survey at the moment, and Graham O'Day and the Integrity Department are working closely with the greyhound staff at Cannington to try and make it safer. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, well that's fair enough. I still think it maybe might have been potentially 0.2 off, which is still leaves it about 4.5 away from where it was going. But look, no knock. All you can do is turn up and win. And Flying Frida did that last week. I'm going to go here with a bit of value, and I think it's a great each-way bet. Number 1, Dusty Deluxe. Now, this dog's had 3 starts at Mandra's last 3 starts, and all 3 of them have been excellent performances. I love the fact that for the first time in probably over 12 months for Dusty Deluxe, it's had the opportunity to go and race somewhere else and freshen it up a little bit, and it's enjoyed it. The way that it's pelted to the line, all 3 of its most recent performances tell me that Dusty Deluxe is now in a really good headspace. I think the dog can run particularly well on Saturday night. Back to Cannington, where it has raced well in the past. From the inside draw, Dusty Deluxe each way, I think, looks a really nice play in this particular race. From number 2, Flying Frida, respected enormously, draws closer to the inside here, likely to be very hard to beat. Love the way Stevie Manelli's been going at Mandurah. Similar story to Dusty Deluxe, off the freshen up, and Mandurah chasing back to Cannington. It'll be strong late. And number 4, Sin Bin Sammy's racing really well for Sean Kavanagh as well. Looking for a bit of value here with 1 Dusty Deluxe each way from 284.
I'll go the other way, Shorty. I'll switch it around like you did in the previous race. 2 on top, Flying Frida, from 1 Dusty Deluxe, 8 Stevie Manelli, and 4 Sin Bin Sammy. 2 on 8 and 4 in race number 7. Race number 8 over the 380 metres. Free for all here. The favourite is with number 7 Terra County at $2.60. All Over Khan at $2.70. I'm going with All Over Khan, a greyhound who has a good strike rate at this track and distance. Was beaten by Custard Manelli last start down at Mandurah. The time was okay. For second, number 7, Terra County, obviously chasing very well for Enzo Cridelli, has won 3 of the last 4, and she's unbeaten from 2 starts from box 7. 2, Daft Jack. Joe Daly had a winning treble, I think, on Wednesday. His team are in good form, and 6, Bronte Blazer can improve in this type of field. 4, 7, 2, 6. I'll
go with a bit of value. Number 2, Daft Jack's been a bit of a favourite of mine on the way through. Look, you just need to pick the night that Daft Jack decides to jump. Hopefully it's Saturday night, but always get a good run for your money each way. From number 4, All Over Khan, huge threat. 7, Terra County's airborne, and 8, Joe the Lion gets the tag over. 2, 4, 7, 8.
Race number 9, no market up at the moment. Which way are you going here? Can Sunset Hornet continue her winning run?
I can't see why not. I thought it was a really nice performance once again last week. A dog that's in the zone and just keeps on fronting up and winning. From number 1 in Sunset Cobra, from the draw, can absolutely find itself into a good spot. 5, Speedy Willow is a legitimate campaigner in this sort of race. Can show up, and 2, Sunset Mayhem, a good addition of the grade 5. 7, 1, 5 and 2 can make a case for a few. Yeah, I agree with you. Number 7, Sunset Hornet, to make it 5 in a row. Outstanding chaser with a lot of early speed. Number 2, Sunset Mayhem, I'll put in for second, in good form. For third, number 1, Sunset Cobra, and 5, Speedy Willow. 7, 2, 1 and 5. Race number 10, a maiden over the 520 metres. 3, 6 and 8 are scratchings here. 1, Sad Emoji, a greyhound who I tipped last start and got into a fair bit of trouble. Number 4 for second, Hippie Trail, just keeps knocking on the door, Shorty. 7 in Thumbs Emoji, and 5 Hill Figure. So 1, 4, 7, 5. 1, 4, 7 and 5 for Pete. I'll go with the same dog on top. Number 1, Sad Emoji, looks to be a really nice setup for the dog. From number 5, Hill Figure. Number 4, Hippie Trail, just keeps running placings and there and abouts. And number 7 in Thumbs Emoji, 1, 5, 4, 7 in race number 10. What about in race 11, Shorty? Still no market up? Race number 11 on the program here. We see them zip around in the novice over the 380 metres. And it's a race where I thought number 6, Ferrero Flyer, really did look to get its opportunity to bounce back into the winners list here. A couple of recent placings. Only has to run to those times to be very hard to beat. From number 3 in Fennec Fox, number 1 in Luke's Raven, and we'll round it out there with greyhound number 7, Trendy Dingo. 6, 3, 1 and 7 in race number 11. 6, 1, 7 and 3 for me. I'll go in race number 11. Just wanted to touch on Brad Cook. Last Tuesday night, Brad, his father-in-law Wayne Beamish, Victoria, his wife, Victoria Beamish, and Daniel Beamish, all train winners on the one program. Doesn't happen very often. Big night for the family. Yep. Well done. Congratulations to those guys. I'm sure they all would have been very happy for each other. All About Coles, the favourite in the last Shorty at $2.90. Bring us home with a winner here. Yeah, and I think it probably will take out the last Pete over the 600 metres. Off the inside last week, looked to use a bit of the track, so it might actually be a solid draw for the dog with nothing on its outside to cause it any dramas. From number 4, All About Rock. Number 1 in Molfetta Drive, and 2 Starlight Ariel. Interesting Bagnaia dog that I haven't mentioned there has been racing okay without much luck, and if it could spear to the top would be some hope as well. Tells you how open the last is. 8, 4, 1, 2.
I'll go 8, 6, 1 and 2. Your best and a quaddie, please.
Best bets on the program for me Saturday night. Race 3, number 2, West on Nugget. Race 5, number 1, Sage to Neil, and each way. Race 7, number 1, Dusty Deluxe. From a quaddie perspective there, first leg going to go with numbers 1 and 2, Sage to Neil and Inside Scoop. Second leg, just 1 and 6, Sandpatch and Nangar Bubbles. The third leg will go a bit wider with numbers 1, 2, 4 and 8. And then that final leg is another pretty open race. We'll go with numbers 2, 4, 7 and 8. So that sees us out 1, 2, 1, 6, 1, 2, 4, 8, 2, 4, 7, 8. That's $64 for a full unit there on Saturday night, Pete.
Looking forward to what is going to be a big weekend of greyhound racing. Good luck to the WA bred chasers in the Melbourne Cup. Good luck with your weekend, Shorty, and you'll be back with our podcast later on this afternoon.
Indeed, yeah, the mail collection from 4:30 this afternoon. And watch out tomorrow morning, Ethan, Christian and Harry doing a full podcast for Sandown Melbourne Cup night, race by race, all 12 races. So if you're looking to have a bet there, keep an eye out for the podcast. Will be dropping Saturday around lunchtime, WA time.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.